Is Microstrategy a dead stock? Is it finished, or is it just getting started? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto. And today we're going to go over just a quick little video of my thesis for MicroStrategy and where we're headed, right? And the answer in one word is higher. Okay, much higher. So first off, we need to go over what is Michael Saylor's strategy in a nutshell. Okay, his strategy in a nutshell is to sell the fake money to buy the real money. Okay, sell the dollars to buy the Bitcoin. That makes the company more valuable. Then when the company's value goes up, you can then sell shares. Okay, and then buy more Bitcoin with that. Right? That's called issuing equity. Okay, at the market. That's what this is. The at the market offering, the ATM. So if you go online and see people talking about Saylor tapping the ATM, what they mean is Saylor is printing shares. He's selling shares. He's diluting shareholders in order to buy more Bitcoin, right? And in the words of Michael Saylor himself, it's not inflation. It's only inflation if you're buying a worse thing. Okay, it's only inflation if you're buying something that does not go up as fast as the equity itself.
And the first nation to print money, the first nation to print their own currency to buy Bitcoin wins, right? Like, Tom, look what MicroStrategy did. We basically issue our own currency, our stock, and we buy Bitcoin. What happened? We went from $1 billion to $100 billion market cap is what happened. Is it inflation? It's only inflation if you print the currency to invest it, to make a bad investment. Right? If you print the currency to buy something that's appreciating faster than your inflation rate, it's actually accretion.
What's happening is your Bitcoin per share is going up every time that he taps the ATM, which is very important. Now, in a recent interview, he also spoke about how he wanted to increase the leverage because the whole point of MicroStrategy is to get extremely levered, right? That's where we see that 500, 600% run up in 3 months. And then you slowly de-lever that. Right? You get the NAV premium compressed closer to 1, and then you increase the leverage again by a huge amount.
The market facility more so than converts in order to raise cash. I'm wondering if there's anything to read into that.
Well, just the equity capital markets were very enthusiastic over the past 4 weeks, and so we're always considering, is it the convertible market? Is it the fixed income market? Is it the equity market we want to go to? And that's going to change from time to time. I expect that mix will shift more heavily toward fixed income markets in Q1 as we go forward, because right now we're probably getting a little bit too delevered and we'd like to actually get more leverage. We have about $7.2 billion of converts, but $4 billion of them are already essentially equity. They're through the strike price, they're through the call price, and they're trading with a delta approximately 100%. So they're looking like equity. And so we would like to go back and build more intelligent leverage for the benefit of our common stock shareholders.
Yeah. That's what these 17 billion in converts are. So he still has 7 billion left of ATM, which means he has $7 billion worth of shares left to print and sell into the market. All right. MicroStrategy needs a lot of volatility and a lot of volume in order to not have the stock plummet all the way to $1 when he's hitting the ATM super hard. Okay, so on green days, what you'll see, if the stock is green, like it's up 8%, Bitcoin's up 2%, and then all of a sudden, MicroStrategy goes from 8% all the way down to flat or negative on the day, while Bitcoin stays strong, it stays the same. That means Saylor just dumped on the market, okay? He just dumped on retail. He just tapped the ATM. And typically, this would be a very bad thing because look at what happened to GameStop. Look at what happened with AMC. That's typically what happens when a company issues equity. Shareholders get diluted permanently. Right? But instead, what's happening is a permanently productive asset is being added to the MicroStrategy balance sheet when they do this, right? Because they're taking the fake money, which is their equity. They're literally printing money. This is how Saylor explains it. Like the first country to issue their own currency and print money to buy Bitcoin wins. Right? Because they're selling something that's fake and has no value anyway in order to buy the only real monetary asset in the world. So companies, in a way, are like countries in the fact that they can issue their own currencies. Publicly traded companies can issue their own stock, right? Which is the equity of the company, and then sell that in order to buy the Bitcoin asset and then put it permanently on their balance sheet, right? That Bitcoin will continue to accrue value over time, making the company more valuable, which means, again, you can sell more shares, more equity, which are worth more because you made the company more valuable because you could put more Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Your Bitcoin per share increased. Do you understand? So once that 7 billion ATM is completely tapped and drained, that means that a lot of the downward selling pressure that's been coming from Michael Saylor himself. Michael Saylor and the team himself will be gone, which means that the space to run will be massive because in order for them to issue the converts, it's a lot slower. This is going to take a long time. I could be wrong, but I think this is going to take a long time. At most, maybe Saylor can get a 5 billion a debt offering on some of these converts, and that would be probably his biggest one. I don't see him being able to do more than 5 billion at a time. And what he tries to do like a ladder method, right? Where he'll have convertible notes that expire or convert in 2029. And then that's just one layer of converts. He will not do 2 layers of converts on the same year. And that one's going to be expiring in 2030. And the next one's going to expire 2031. Then the next one is expiring in 2032. They don't stack on the same years, right? They give themselves a lot of space and they intelligently leverage their position. They're very risk adverse, if I'm being honest, which sounds crazy, but they're pretty risk adverse. And they're avoiding any potential for a blow up. Now, some people might say, well, what happens if the price of Bitcoin goes all the way down to 10,000? Then MicroStrategy is going to go bankrupt and the company is going to go to zero and then everything's going to be negative and blah, blah, blah. First off, Bitcoin literally cannot go to 10K unless like Satoshi comes back, sells all of his coins, and if the United States government sells all their coins, just like a massive black swan event. And even in the event of that happening, right, the Bitcoin is unencumbered. Like there's no situation where MicroStrategy has to sell the Bitcoin.
Good. People think it's debt. It's convertible debt. It's unsecured. No recourse. What that means, Ron, is that Bitcoin could go from $100,000 to $1,000. The debt's not getting called. There is no recourse. Bitcoin can go to $1. You see, Bitcoin can literally go to 1 penny. The debt there's no call feature. And so it's like basically someone loans you billions of dollars and you agree that in 5 years, you will either pay them back in cash or in stock. But you know what happened is if Bitcoin crashed by 75%, the stock would trade down. We would just pay off the debt with stock. So the risk isn't in the debt so much as it's in the equity. But the point, and people are like, oh, well, that makes the equity more risky. Well, yeah, that's the point.
They will sell stock. They will sell equity to pay off the debt holders before they sell the Bitcoin. Okay. Michael Saylor is doing everything in his power to make sure that the Bitcoin never gets sold no matter what. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just think that, oh, this is a massive debt-based Ponzi scheme. It's going to blow up any day now. Like the amount of debt on their balance sheet is really small. And a lot of that debt is starting to look like equity. Okay. Most of the bonds that they've issued are already in the money, ready to convert. So there's no longer debt. It's literally equity on the balance sheet. Okay. They're just doing a delta hedge on it. They're doing an ARB, okay, an arbitrage trade on it. And that ARB is getting close to zero, which means that they're going to convert to shares, right? And then the debt goes away. So MicroStrategy is not really levered up a lot on the debt. And that's what Michael Saylor wants to change here very soon. He's tapped the ATM very hard because the stock price ran away so much. The equity market fell in love with MicroStrategy. It was the darling of the S&P. It was the #1 performing stock in the world. Okay. Or at least in the S&P 500. Okay, this year. So that's pretty big. Of course, you're going to tap the ATM because the equity is so high. It's so expensive. It's at such a big premium. We want to condense the premium. Once the premium is condensed, we have a lot more Bitcoin than we did before. Okay, we need to get the premium big again. How do we do that? By issuing the converts, by using the debt as leverage, all right? By getting people to give us money without us having to sell shares, and then we buy Bitcoin, which pumps the price of Bitcoin, which pumps the price of our stock. And if there's no more ATM to offer, then most likely MicroStrategy is going to run to levels we have never seen. What's my price prediction? In the long term, again, this thing is going to literally reprice the entire stock market. Like it's literally going to eat the entire S&P 500. It's going to eat literally everything, right? But before I talk about that, what I'm going to say is I feel like we get to a point where we're looking at something like this, where there's zero of the ATM left to tap, but we still have 7 billion of converts that are looking to get issued, right? 7 billion more dollars that's looking to get pumped into Bitcoin, which will then obviously pump the price of MicroStrategy because the Bitcoin per share will be increased. This is like an ideal situation. No more converts, no more ATM left, nothing but converts left. only converts left. And we're getting very close to this. So I think very soon, the next time Bitcoin has a massive breakout, Saylor could issue the entire ATM at once. Okay, he could just fire off the entire 7 Bs. All right, the biggest buy he ever did was 5.5 B. You know, I could see him doing 7, but Bitcoin would have to run massively. And right now, because of the rate cuts and the Fed losing control of the economy, things are just looking kind of shaky. So people are a little bit weary of all their assets, right? All their investments. Okay, but once Bitcoin goes on that generational run, right, like a 10% day, 11% day, we could see Saylor tap the ATM, drain the entire thing at once, and then just start going crazy on the converts. Price prediction for 2025, I could see guarantee. Okay, nothing's guaranteed in life, by the way, but guarantee. We're going 4 figures. Like that's bare minimum. That's like a horrible bear case. That's like extremely bearish. And then like the peak price, let's just say we continue to have cycles, right? The peak price, man, this thing's going past, it's going past 2 racks. Okay, it's going past 2 racks easily. The current price is like 350 something. It's easily going past 2 racks. So again, save this video, just come back in 2025. This is literally a gem. This is a hidden gem on YouTube. This video is not going to have a lot of views. It's going to have like no views, but people are going to come back and be like, dang, why didn't I watch this earlier? Absolutely insane. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stack, sats, or die trying.